Alright, hello and welcome to another Why Would You Use. So, today we're going to be talking about the Hema. So, first what we're going to do in this video is we're going to go over the gun. The gun itself, the mods I use in it, or we're going to do the test and stuff. But at the end of this video, we need to talk about the research for this. So, I'm going to put that off until the end because I know a lot of you guys don't care and don't want to hear about that. But let's just get started talking about this gun because I like it quite a bit. This is a burst fire infested weapon. Pretty just general. The bullets have travel time, kind of normal stuff. Whenever you reload this weapon, however, and I'll just do the maximum, if you reload the entire magazine for this, and you reload, it'll cost you 3% of your health. So, for my Excalibur, that comes out to 20 health, which is fine. It also uses ammo, which I misconstrued as it just taking ammo as bullets, which would have been very nice. But this weapon will also heal you on headshots, and it heals for 10% of the damage done. So, it's very, very easy with this weapon to way overheal that 3% that you're using to fill the gun up. So, it turns out that this weapon basically just has lifesteal all the time as long as you can hit headshots, which, of course, it's not the most accurate weapon ever, and it has travel time, so it's slightly challenging, but ends up being fine, and having the lifesteal is really good for a lot of Warframes, and gives us another alternate way to heal in general, which is cool. So far, what I've been using on this weapon is this. Very basic. Shred helps this weapon a lot because the fire rate is great because it's burst fire, and the punch through is really nice. And this weapon has really good status, and it has viral as its base damage, which means you can do viral corrosive, which is a very, very powerful combination, and makes it so you can reduce the EHP of enemies drastically and very, very quickly. So that stuff is all awesome, and in general, it does fine damage too. But mostly what you're doing here is the status, and that's fine because it has a unique status stat line, so there's definitely reasons to use this thing. So, let's just do our normal test, and the cool thing about this weapon is that as long as you're mildly tanky, you can kind of just stand in front of dudes and just shoot them. Because they can't usually outdamage the healing on you unless they're like knocking you down and crowd controlling you, which is kind of unique. And I don't know, it's just a weird thing that it's nice. This weapon is interesting. It's got some like cool stuff going on with it where it can use health as a resource, so like we might see weapons that maybe use shield as a resource at some point. And it being able to like have lifesteal innately is awesome. It does fine damage. All those things are cool. And I think this weapon's really fun, and I'm not much for burst fire in general, so yeah. Yeah, you can see there, you can kind of just heal yourself back up even if you're just taking direct damage from heavy gunners at this level anyway. Yeah. There we go, take care of that guy. Yeah, it does fine damage. And like the status obviously lets you rip through the armor of, say, this bombard here. Like, even though I'm not using the weakness, I'm like cutting his EHP in half and ripping the armor off of him, so it ends up that that's pretty good. And like this gun is just topping me off in terms of health, like every time I would take damage. So like the cost to me of my health whenever I reload it ends up being kind of a moot point, because it, like, as long as you can kind of aim, it'll just heal you right back up. Like, and you don't even need to do that all the time because, like, it's not a critical weapon or anything. You don't have to do headshots, but if you feel like you need to heal, you can just headshot it up for a little bit and get yourself back up. That stuff's cool. It's a serviceable rifle. I think it might be the best burst rifle in the game, in general, just because status is really good. It's unique status stat line, generally okay damage. That stuff's awesome. I think if you're someone who's going to use growing power, like I have been recently on Nidus, this is an amazing weapon for that because you're constantly proccing status. So that stuff's awesome. But stuff that is not awesome is the mutagen sample cost for this gun. So, a lot of people have been complaining about this, and rightly so. So I went to grind out some mutagen samples to see how many I could get in an hour, because obviously, like, how much can I get in an hour of doing a mission that's efficient for it and bringing a farming party? To try and get kind of an idea of how long it would take one person in a ghost clan to get the thing. Because there are many of those. There are many like, oh no, this is my clan, it's just me, or it's just you and your friends that only play like once a month, let's say. So they're not really contributing, and it's not really anything that matters what they're doing. It's just you, who you play a lot, and your buds. That's very common. So I wanted to see how long that would take. So I did a 65 wave ODD for an hour. It took us an hour to do the 65 waves, which is relatively fast. We did that with 2 Necros, a Spiva, and a Frost, which is kind of a basic farming setup, and we got 164 mutagen samples in that time, which is low, to say the least, for how much you need to actually do the research. But for the sake of variance, let's round 164 up to 200. How many hours would it take just me to get that research done? Well, it's 5,000 mutagen samples at base, which is a lot. That is exponentially more so than the amount of mutagen samples we've ever needed before. So it would take you 25 hours of ODD getting 200. That's a lot. That is a lot of like one mission. And maybe ODS is like very slightly better, but of course I rounded up to kind of account for that. And we were using 2 Necros, so we were getting more drops anyway. 25 hours if you're just by yourself in a clan, which is not super uncommon. But let's say that is super uncommon, and like, well, like obviously I have a clan personally because I have this channel, of course, and thank you everyone. I do very much appreciate you guys in the clan, because we make sure that people are rotating out that are like no longer playing and stuff like that. So I have a shadow clan of people that are all playing constantly. So that research was nothing for me. I am the outlier case in a huge way. Like, it wasn't not like any big deal for my clan to get it because we've got all members playing. So if all members were playing in a clan, it's no challenge at all. It's fine. It's easy to get to that. But that is not the normal case. I know, because it wasn't always the case that I had people that wanted to be in the clan and constantly playing with me and stuff. That wasn't how it was. It was like me and Jacob and 8 other people that were kind of maybe playing sometimes. So let's assume 30% of your clan is playing at any given time. That would mean that it would take like 8 hours, like 8 1/3-ish of your time farming ODD to get that, with 30% of your clan farming it. That is, like, 25 is, like, absurd. Like, for one person, that sucks. That's burned out status, like, even before you hit the 25. But, like, 8 hours of doing one mission, because the Derelict is, like, the only place you're getting this stuff. It almost never drops on Eris. I know, because I've done so much of COD and gotten almost nothing. It sucks. Like, to be frank, it's not... Like, this weapon's fun. I like this weapon. I think the Hema's cool. I think it's interesting. It's got new mechanics that I think are awesome and that I think are great to be introduced into the game. The stuff that this weapon does is cool. The cost of this weapon, like, can't be justified unless you are a super outlier like me that just has everyone in the clan playing. It's way too much. Like, it feels like that 5,000 number is based on the 5,000 base, of course, for 10 players in a clan. It feels like that's based on everyone in the clan playing. And if everyone in the clan was playing, it's only 500, which would take, like, that's, like, fine. Like, I got, like, basically 200 in 1 hour, so everyone has to play for, like, 2.5 hours of farming. Sure. It's fine. 2.5 hours? Whatever. But that's not the case. Like, it's not the regular case that many people are playing. And I think that gets worse as the clan tiers are higher. So I feel really, really bad for the people that are in the Moon clans, where it's like 1,000 people, and like maybe 100 of them are playing. Because that farm is awful. That's 500,000 mutagen samples. That's so much. And obviously you have more players that you would think would be counteracting that. But I think in practice it really just doesn't work that way. So my advice to anyone who is alone in your clan, in your ghost clan, you gotta, I mean, I don't know. It's not worth it, honestly. Like, the roughly like 25 hours to spend to get this thing, unless you like love burst fire rifles like an absurd amount, and infested weapons, and you love lifesteal, like there's got to be a lot of stuff that you're willing to do to play 25 hours of that game mode. So my advice is to not, because it's just not worth it at all. And don't buy this weapon, okay? Everyone, don't fucking buy this thing. Don't do it. It's not worth it. This weapon is not good enough for you to buy with platinum. And B, that tells DE that it's fine to have a weapon that is like this, and behind that much just bullshit. Because the only thing wrong with this weapon is those biolab research requirements. The manufacturing costs seem totally reasonable, and this weapon itself is totally reasonable. It's a totally fine weapon that is niche and cool. But if you buy this weapon from the market, it tells DE that it's fine to have those like absurd requirements, like the mutagen samples. So please don't. But yeah, that's the Hema. If your clan's got it, use it. It's fun. But if your clan if you're by yourself or any of that stuff, do yourself a favor and don't burn yourself out, because it's not worth it. But yeah, that's the Hema, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.